Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War Mythic of the Lord of Slaughter. So we're going to go open it up in keys, going to go mess around with some teams, and kind of just go over overall first impressions. From what we currently know about this thing, it should be pretty good though. So as far as getting this troop, it is found in Glory Gem Guild and a VIP chest for this week only, and then it'll be in the drop table with everything else. Basically the easiest way to get it after this week would be of course to get it off of diamonds, but during this week it is definitely a really good idea to go open up Glory Gem Guild or VIP chests. This is mostly because this thing is going to be very good. It actually brings in an old mechanic that was from about 4 years ago, from version 2.0 of the game, when traits first came into the game. There was a trait that had a 100% chance to ignore armor, basically meaning that your skulls would always do true damage and hit directly onto HP. This was removed from the game because it was way too overpowered at the time, and then we just got a bunch of 50% and 75% troops that have it, with Orion having the 75%. However, this is the first troop since then to have 100%. This is, oddly enough, actually weaker than Web Spinner, which got buffed about a year back to have triple damage against pretty much everything, because he gets to web, and as long as he can web something, it'll be able to triple damage most things within the game, mostly only getting stopped by Impervious. One nice thing about this, though, is it doesn't get stopped by anything. It doesn't matter what kind of immunities they have, it will always be able to hit directly onto HP. There is currently no counter in the game to true damage, at least currently, though this Mythic might change that, because he is very good in true damage in pretty much every single way. His ability was actually pre-nerfed before it was even released. He was originally going to have a 24 mana cost. He is raised to a 27 green, blue, red mana cost. Normally I say a mana cost increase once it's that high generally isn't really that big a deal. However, it is slightly more impactful on this troop, mostly because it is almost always going to be used in first slot. However, it is ever so occasionally going to be used in second slot, depending on if you're using a more so for his ability than his traits. But anyways, as far as his ability, it's kind of like a Sheggra with a few add-ons. It gets to create 6 browns, and then converts all browns to doomskulls, which is pretty relevant because those are doomskulls, not specifically normal skulls. So this does get a lot of mana accumulation. So it's going to be a little bit hard to get his initial mana, but beyond that, you're going to get a lot of the mana back because all the explosions that you'll get from the doomskulls onto the board. He also gets to inflict 1 to 2 bleeds, which for the most part is going to do pretty much nothing. Bleed is rather underwhelming in the current state of game, and that doesn't really synergize with much, at least currently anyways. And 1 to 2 death marks basically mean it's kind of like Life and Death, where it's already absurdly good and they just throw some death marks on top of it. So that's going to be pretty good. Obviously, they're going to be very rare if they ever hit. However, the ability could completely not have that, and it would still be good. So that's pretty much just free potential kills out of nowhere. He does have some skull reduction, which is good because he's always going to be in the first slot for the most part. He has Summon a Doomstorm at start of battle, so this is going to be good. This is actually, if I'm not mistaken, the first troop in the game to have this. This was already existing off of several hero classes. However, if I'm not mistaken, no troops currently had this until now, so you'll be able to do that at the start of battle off of a troop rather than having to dedicate your hero to it. And most of the hero classes that had it were pretty bad, so now you can use this, which is extremely good. And of course, as I mentioned, 100% chance to completely ignore their armor and just hit straight to their HP, meaning you only have to deal with half their stats. So overall, highly advise getting this troop, which is what we're going to do exactly right now, and the game's notifying us to do so. So we're going to start with gem keys, see how we go. We'll go 50 at a time, and pull it right now. Go! Nope. Unfortunately, not immediately, though I think I need more copies of that one spell-resistant dragon, so that's good. Can't remember if I ever got it max. Though knowing me, I probably maxed it immediately with an orb or something. Frost Feather came in about a year ago. Actually, I think it came in exactly a year ago from today. I do remember that. Because it was like the one video I was like away for at the time. And we're just getting a bunch of other legends. Can we get it? Hopefully we don't have to burn through all of our keys to be able to do so. Well, at least we're getting a bunch of drops. Not sure if I really need most of them, though, that are even under this, other than the Mythic. Which still does not want to drop. But yeah, I hope all of you guys been doing pretty well so far. Let's see. It seems we have not. We have burned through, what was that, 800 gem keys? Okay, so I'm going to probably save the VIP keys. Let's move to Glory keys next, and obviously we'll do them 200 at a time, otherwise we will be here for a while. Also, I am recording this immediately as it came out. It's literally been out for like, what, 10 minutes now? So it might be a little bit laggier than normal, though for the most part it doesn't seem too bad at the moment, but we'll probably notice it a little bit more when we're going into like the loading screen for battles and stuff like that. Let's see. Oh, another Basilisk. I don't think no, I ended up maxing that because I ended up using it for Guild War. It is pretty recent. He's, of course, back in the drop table. The way that those new legends come out whenever they're in the event key drop table, they're not in the drop table for an entire month after that, and then they come back in. So it looks like confirmation, Basilisk is 100% definitely in the drop table. So if you didn't end up picking that up about a month or so ago, definitely make sure to do so. It's pretty good for Guild Wars. I ended up dropping it from my brown team or whatever team I did end up using it for. However, it's still a great option. It's a nice alternative to Corvash. Obviously, Corvash is still good, but it depends if you kind of want to go for the one-shot option or if you want to go more so for the double disable as far as which one of the two you end up going for. But nonetheless, still a great option. And good to get copies of it. Or your first copy now that it's actually in the drop table now. Well, Divinish Follow, you're good, but that's not what we need. Just give us the Mythic already. We could also go to Guild Chests. Of course, that is another option that will have it. Actually, Guild Chests, not counting VIP chests, has the highest chance of actually dropping a Mythic. So at this rate, we might want to consider it. We'll see. Though, if nothing else, one nice thing about opening Glory Keys is you do get a very wide range of resources while doing so. You get gold, you get glory, you get gems. There's a lot of stuff, even if you don't need a single one of these troops, that you're still going to be accumulating. So if nothing else, that'll be helpful. We're actually getting pretty close to be back to 20,000 gems. I ended up losing a lot of gems earlier this year, mostly because we went for a lot of maxed out pure factions, which can be a little bit costly on gems sometimes. But we finally got them all maxed, so we don't really need to do that anymore. And there we go. Also, don't get more than one of him. You're probably not going to need more than one. But there it is, the Lord of Slaughter. So let's go get this thing maxed out and go do some teams. So let's see. Let's go to the Slaughter, and that should bring him up. Or Lord of. Either or. Okay, so let's go get this thing upgraded. Obviously, it is a Mythic, so best time to go use these orbs, as they get the most amount of value on this troop. So boom, maxed. Okay, there we go. So we don't need to worry about that. Obviously, we can't medal it, though if you were to ever medal it, it gets 666 as its bonuses. So that's actually pretty good on it, since it does need higher attack and it does need higher durability being in first slot. So that's a really good typing for him if he was to ever be medaled. No, do not medal him. It takes way too long to upgrade Mythics, and I'm not sure if he'd still be meta by then. But he definitely seems like he will be. And after we go and test him out right now, we'll definitely know for sure. Or at least how he currently stands. Anyways, of course, we already have teams predetermined to also be in the description and the comment section if you want to simply go copy-paste these teams and use them yourself. Okay, so there we go. So let's go and test these three teams now and see how he ends up working out. So no, don't go for that. Let's see. Let's go take a good battle here. Yep, that's perfect. Oh, Essence of Evil. That can be bad against this team. We have a very slow start. However, this team right here is kind of going to bypass it. So this is a very empower-heavy team. You might notice we're using cores here as well. We're basically going to be using this to try to mana accumulate his full mana as quickly as we possibly can. Or at least that is the game plan here. So right here, we do have alignment for extra turn. We do have a brown there too. Oh, Entangle. So one kind of interesting thing about Entangle... actually, I don't have a counter to it on this team. But one slight bypass to that is once he does his Doomskulls, he doesn't really need to worry about the Entangle per se, in the sense that you will still be hitting a lot of damage. I'm going to go for Essence of Evil here, because as you're about to see, we should be able to kill that. Mostly because of the Doomskull damage. Unfortunately, we do not have direct alignment for an extra turn, though we could try for it, and I think we are going to risk it. A little bit bad to try to risk with this, as obviously if it misses, you're kind of in bad luck right there. But as you can see, we can end up doing enough damage there to basically hit through even if we are entangled, as the damage will still end up poking. So right here, wow, gosh, can you please get unentangled? Okay, let's just go and, because it's enough to kill out the one, but not for the other. So there we go. So now we can end up hitting on HP directly. We have a convert here for skulls. We actually have his ability again with a guarantee alignment, so we'll definitely go for that. Go for the, as you can see, we keep hitting onto HP directly, as that is his whole premise. So we can get that there. We have Hunter's Mark as well. This allows us to, of course, kill instantly, which ends up working out really well. The Rope Dart isn't really a necessity on this team, by the way. As his mechanic already has basically that attached to it. The main thing that you're really using Rope Dart for, if you are choosing to use Rope Dart, is mostly to target out whatever their most threatening option is and move it to first. It's not really used for its armor tier, which is kind of rare because, well, you don't need an armor tier, but it's simply used for the repositioning. But yeah, this whole team was essentially set up as we get the Daughter of Ice. She gives a bunch of blue. That then gives our Lord of Slaughter a bunch of blue off of our +3 blue off of Corsair. And then we just go pretty much crazy from there. He just goes, starts doing his thing. If we really needed it, even though he didn't cast it a single time, you can get it attacking off of this, also converting yellow to skull. And overall, yeah, it ends up working out pretty well. Let's go into our next team. So this is a much cheaper team, cheapest team I could actually think of that ends up using it. It is Lord of Slaughter, Titan, which is a hero class that pretty much everyone should go and max, Thrall, and Leprechaun. This weapon you get automatically from leveling up your hero. You get it by about level 150. Thrall is a common, and Leprechaun is ultra rare. So super cheap team to end up creating, other than Lord of Slaughter himself. But of course it's based around Lord of Slaughter. So, yeah, basically all we have to do here is mana accumulate. Obviously, Brownstorm helps him quite a lot because of the alignment. He needs brown on the board to have more doomskulls, and more doomskull means more damage. And that's pretty much the whole thing we're going for with this. So, oops, we are frozen, aren't we? And oops, my bad. Well, let's get a Mountain Crusher going. This should hopefully give him a good setup for the following turn, as long as we get a following turn. Oh, he did just stun us there. Ooh. Let's see. That's not the greatest of things to have happened. Might need to try this one again. Well, we have alignment. Do we bother going for it, though? We are kind of entangled, which is problematic. I think we just have to go for it. That is way too much board to not go for it. As you can see, you can still Doomskull through Entangle. It's not the best of options, but you can still get some damage out. And now we really just need to get his mana right back up. So we're not really able to use most of our mana accumulation methods here. I kind of need our hero to die, but I don't think it's actually going to go down. We are frozen on absolutely everything, so let's have to go for a bunch of mana accumulation off of that. We do not have alignment, and I believe we are frozen on red because he does use red, so we could either board clear again or go for another convert, but it's not guaranteed that we'll get it off. I'm actually going to go for this and hope that we have the cleanse next turn. Are we actually not frozen on brown? We are not. However, I'd rather go for this. And obviously this wipes it out. A lot of damage all at once. I'm actually tempted just to take this blue. And then just see what happens the following turn. So we'll grab that. We actually extra turned off of something, so we'll go for Mountain Crusher then. This should ideally give us setup, and ideally you will be cleansed. Wrong one. Do we go for it? There's a lot of options where it could land. I guess we'll try it. We might kill this entire battle off of Entangle. So as you can see, he has such an absurd amount of damage that even if you're entangled, you still one-shot. Even when he's not in first slot, meaning you're not getting the true damage, and even when you're entangled, that ability just has so much damage because the Doomskull that not even entangle stops it. So that's good to know. So just cast them, and it doesn't even matter if you're entangled, which also doesn't even matter if you're reduced to 0 attack then, theoretically. Ideally, you wouldn't want to be, but it's not going to make too much of a difference, apparently. Because that was, what is Obsidious? 50% score reduction? That was off of 50% score reduction. It still ended up killing in a single cast. And that's off a hero, too, not even with the true damage poke. But, yeah, that is a devastating ability. I see why they, nerfed it to 25 or 27 mana cost. And here's an upscaling team. So, obviously, Lord of Slaughter is almost always going to be used in first slot. However, here is an instance where it is not, where we end up having it a little bit further back. Obviously, second slot. Second slot's like the furthest back you would ever use it. Obviously, most of the time, first slot, like 90% of the time. All the other times, probably second slot. But more often than not, it will be in first. So if you are using it in this, you can kind of use it to upscale. You can do this in one of two different ways. You can do Earth's Fury with it, or just go for the main first slot, and obviously we're doing the main first slot here. I really should be covering Orpheus's right now so we can actually go and not get entangled. Though I think not getting freeze is a little bit more important than not getting entangled, but still, we'd be getting so much better damage otherwise. Also, I can't even show Mang. We can't even do a proper Mang now. Oh, we'll go just explode a bunch of color, ideally on red. We did not end up landing on it. Right here, hero is still not going to let me have this. So obviously this kind of team is meant more so for like a delve kind of situation. You can use Mang, you then throw his ability and just go from there. A little bit risky to be using for something like delves, however, it is definitely an option. So right here, we're just going to have to go for it. And, okay, I was going to say that should have died and it did. Okay. So that ends up working out. We're going to need to get a little bit of mana there. We can go for this cast again. We are still entangled, so Mang's still doing nothing. However, this ability seems to be so good on its own that that doesn't even matter. So you know what? We're just going to cast it. And dead. Okay. So entangle means literally nothing to this troop. Also, even at 27 mana cost, it almost has gained full mana back. Yeah, this troop is very, very broken, I see. And this is why they nerfed it 4 years ago, or actually completely removed the mechanic from the game. Actually, we're not even using that mechanic. Honestly, this is just his ability. I was not expecting his ability to be the stronger aspect of him, but apparently, it probably is. Like, his ability is probably more relevant than the fact he does 100% true damage. Based by the fact that we just did that battle with Entangle and him not even in first slot. That is pretty insane. Let's go for it one more time. We can't not do it against Life and Death. So this is how it fends against Life and Death. Let's see how it goes. So can we get his mana to full mana immediately? It is a red to blue, if I'm not mistaken, so we do not currently have alignment. We do not have skull alignment either, so we're just going to have to kind of move the board a little bit and see where that moves us. Unfortunately, I believe that does not move us any further closer to what we're trying to do. And I do need to be careful of his convert. It doesn't look like it's doing anything intimidating, so we'll let him do his thing. I'm not sure if I can cascade anything to a relevant location. I'm trying to see if that knocks anything down where we can actually convert. It does not appear to be, so I'm probably just going to have to take a blue here and see where that leaves us for the following turn. Maybe try for a double yellow. Yeah, that's not going to interfere with anything. We can try for double yellow here. Did not end up getting it. So that will give him a little bit of mana, but I think we can work with this. Let's see. We still don't have convert. We still do not have anything too relevant. He's going to get a life and death here, which is going to be bad. And of course, we're still not running Orpheuses at the moment. Let's see. Which in many cases probably will be the better option for it. I am currently running with Seasons, just for the extra stats, so it has better survivability and higher skull damage. But more often than not, a lot of these PvP battles these days, increasingly so, are really requiring having that cleanse to be able to deal with them. So right here, we're going to go for the attack buff. We didn't really get to do that the other time around, and just end up poking it there. Unfortunately, our alignment for this mana is just doing really bad, unless I'm missing something. Seems like we keep getting awful boards for this. So we'll take that, we'll take that. Finally, we get some alignment. Unfortunately, we already have full mana, so that doesn't really do us any good, does it? We're already going to be able to do that regardless, so a little unfortunate there. I can kill Life and Death now. Archie, will we have enough damage? Do we even bother? Do we go for the other kill instead? Never mind, it has Stealthy, I can't. Yeah, we're going to go for it on there then. So one nice thing about that Web Spinner isn't able to do is we are able to get the extra damage onto, or, you know, hitting directly onto HP, which I guess against Life and Death isn't really as relevant to be able to do, since it is pretty much all life as far as its durability is concerned. But that is one thing that Web Spinner is kind of bad against, Bless and stuff like that, where it's not normally able to actually do its extra damage, whereas you're still always going to be able to hit directly to the true damage with this option, or, you know, to their HP directly. So we'll go for that. Still don't really have a convert for this. We can get a skull out of it. Do we have red or blue right now? Actually, we do, so we can go for that ability again, since we're not frozen on that. Now that both of them are like this, we can actually go move one of them, if we so choose, like if we want to kill Weaver right now. I think we will go for that, just because it has a lower threshold to actually be able to be killed. And ideally, we could just go poke with this, and then follow up with the other ability, and that should be dead. He'll poke us here, maybe once or twice, but we should live, and then it just dies. That is the gameplay. Oh, of course, there's a little bit of mana drain. That is quite unfortunate. We can cascade all this. I don't think I'm going to go for a skull here. I'd rather just burst it down with damage. I even want to leave the brown on the board, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm actually going to do is do a really weird move and just let it have the skull. And I believe it just dies right here. So we go and now cast this. And unless we miss horribly bad, that should kill. And of course, that troop just gets revived there. And he's killed again, and down it goes. But yeah, wow, that ability is strong. It is currently the third highest mana cost troop in the game. Zugoth is the highest at 32 right now. Wardbreaker at 30, and then this thing at 27. Honestly, they might need to raise that further. Which is not something I was thinking. This ability is just way, way more effective than I was initially anticipating it to be. Like, obviously it was going to be a good ability, but wow, is that insanely good. You don't even need him for his traits, to be honest. You could just use mana generate into him like crazy, cast him, and you just get so much mana back from all those doomskulls. And the consistency of converting that is so good, and there's so many good brown teams, like Mountain Crusher or Harpy Mage, more so Mountain Crusher, is used in like almost every single team, or at least a lot of them. It's a really popular option, and just having that to be able to counter that out is going to be so strong. I feel like they kind of made this as a brown counter, though what you can also do is just literally use brown with it. Like you saw, we use Mountain Crusher with it, which is pretty much already just always been meta, and just use it with it and just ends up working out even better with the Brown Storm. So it's kind of weird because it seems like it was made almost to counter this, yet it also indirectly synergizes with it because it also counters it because it needs a Storm. But overall, yeah, really great Mythic. We'll still need to mess around with it more. We will be streaming today around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be messing around with it here and there, as well as doing invasions, because, of course, we have that this weekend. But, yeah, we'll need to test around, see what this thing can do, test a few more teams. And as it currently stands, I would definitely say definitively, this is one of the top 5 troops currently in the entire game. And it might be even higher than that after we mess around with it. Its only real liability is super high mana cost, but aside from that, it doesn't really have many. Has pretty good traits. I guess it doesn't really have any immunity, so it kind of can get countered a little bit by that, by silence, mana drain, stuff like that. But overall, not even Tangle is going to be touching this. You can't attack reduce it. Once it gets going, it's just going to pretty much win. It's kind of like one of those almost like Divinish Bala Quillen kind of combo things, just in kind of like a single troop, or Glaceon Bloodhammer or something like that, where once it goes, you're pretty much dead. That is pretty much this troop in a nutshell. But yeah, highly advise getting it. It's in Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest for this week. If you don't end up getting it by the end of Thursday at Friday reset time next week, you will be able to get it for 4,000 diamonds at some point in the future. So if you feel like you won't get it through keys, you might want to start saving now, because you will definitely want to get this troop as soon as you possibly can, as it seems like it's going to be a really great option for pretty much everything. It can work in PvP, it can work for Guild Wars, it can work for Delves because of how much just sheer damage it's going to be, especially with something that upscales like Mang, as you saw for that one team, though we didn't really get to show it too well, given that Mang didn't really get to cast. But of course, you can use that kind of thing, take a Brown so you don't take damage, go and cast Mang, and then just throw this down and just get a lot of damage. And yeah, it's going to work in a very wide range of locations. The only location I feel like it will not work for is Explore 12 Quick Kill. I feel like there will be quicker options, though we haven't tested it yet, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see on how it pans out for that. But anyways, guys, I'll be heading out for now. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Best of luck on trying to get this troop, and I will see you all later. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye, everyone.